The key to unlocking your true potential lies in taking a bold step, disappearing for an entire year. Imagine what could happen if you took time away from everything, from distractions, from the noise of daily life, and from all the things that keep you from focusing on what truly matters. In that year, you could transform your mindset, build new skills, and become the person you've always known you could be. A year may seem like a long time, but when you commit to this kind of change, you'll find that it's exactly what you need to reset, to grow, and to step into the best version of yourself. You'll emerge stronger, more disciplined, and equipped to take on anything the world throws your way. This isn't just a challenge to consider. It's a challenge that will change the course of your life. Today, I'm going to show you how taking this year to focus on yourself can transform your future. It's going to be hard, yes, but it will be worth it. If you're ready to change your life and set yourself up for long-term success, then stick with me, and let's dive into how disappearing for a year can make it all happen. Number one, the power of stepping away. Do you know what one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life is? It's the decision to step away from the noise, the chaos, and the constant demands of the world. That's where you find your power. That's where you discover who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Today, I dare you to do something that most people are too afraid to even consider. I dare you to disappear for a year. Now, when I say disappear, I'm not talking about running away from your responsibilities or hiding from the world. I'm talking about stepping away with intention. I'm talking about taking a year of your life and dedicating it to growth. Your growth. A year where you say, this is my time to figure things out. My time to focus on my goals, my potential, and my future. Because let me tell you something. Until you take that step, until you commit to yourself, you'll keep spinning your wheels in the same place, wondering why nothing's changing. The truth is, most people are too scared to take a step back. They're afraid of what they might lose. Friends, followers, a sense of connection. But let me ask you this. What's the cost of staying where you are? What's the cost of living distracted, unfocused, and stuck in a cycle that's not serving you? When you step away, you're not losing anything. You're gaining something far more valuable. Clarity. Clarity is a gift that's only found in quiet. And let's be honest, how often do we give ourselves that gift? When was the last time you sat with your own thoughts, free from distractions, and asked yourself, what do I really want? Not what your friends want, not what your parents expect, not what the world tells you is important. What do you want? That's the question most people never answer, because they never give themselves the space to even ask it. And that's why I dare you to step away. Because when you do, you create that space. You open the door to answers you've been searching for your whole life. Here's the thing about stepping away. It's uncomfortable at first. You're used to the noise. You're used to the constant notifications, the endless scrolling, the need to be seen and heard. But when you let all of that go, you start to hear something else. You start to hear yourself. And what you'll hear might surprise you. It might scare you. It might even inspire you. Because for the first time, you'll realize what you've been missing. You'll realize how much of your life has been spent doing things that don't matter, chasing approval from people who don't care, and neglecting the person who matters most. Let me tell you what happens when you step away. You begin to see your life with new eyes. You see the habits that are holding you back. You see the relationships that drain your energy. You see the potential you've been ignoring. It's like stepping outside and looking at your house from a distance. You see the cracks in the foundation, the areas that need repair, and the parts that have been neglected for too long. And then you have a choice. You can either go back to living the way you were, or you can start rebuilding. You can start creating the life you actually want. The beauty of stepping away is that it puts you in control. You're no longer reacting to life. You're designing it. You're deciding how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you're working towards. And that kind of control is priceless. But it doesn't come easy. It requires discipline. It requires commitment. It requires you to say, I'm worth it. My dreams are worth it. My future is worth it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Jim, this sounds great, but I don't have the time to disappear for a year. Let me stop you right there. You don't have the time not to. The time you're spending right now on things that don't matter. That's time you could be using to build something extraordinary. And let me tell you, the world isn't going anywhere. Social media will still be there. The parties will still be there. The distractions will always be waiting. But your time, that's not something you can get back. Every moment you waste is a moment you'll never have again. So why not spend it on something that matters? I'll tell you what will happen if you take this dare. At first, it'll feel strange. You'll feel disconnected. You might even feel lonely. But as the days go by, something will shift. You'll start to feel lighter. You'll start to feel focused. You'll start to feel alive. And by the end of that year, you'll look back and wonder why you didn't do it sooner. You'll see the person you've become, the strength, the clarity, the confidence, and you'll realize it was worth every moment. This isn't just about disappearing. It's about reappearing as someone new, someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows their worth and isn't afraid to claim it. That's the power of stepping away. It's not about what you leave behind. It's about what you come back with. And trust me, the world will notice. They'll see the change in you. They'll feel the difference. And they'll ask, what happened to you? And you'll smile because you'll know. You chose to step away so you could step into the life you were meant to live. So here's my challenge to you. Take the dare. Take the year. Step away from the noise and step into your potential. You'll thank yourself for it. And when you come back, the world won't recognize the person you've become, but you will. And that, my friends, is what makes it all worthwhile. Number 2, identifying distractions in your life. What if the life you want, the success you dream of, and the peace you crave are all being held back, not by lack of ability, but by distractions? What if everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of learning how to focus? That's the truth, my friends. Your distractions are costing you more than just your time. They're costing you your future. And until you take control of them, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. Distractions are everywhere. They're in your pocket, buzzing and lighting up every few minutes. They're in the endless stream of content, pulling your attention in 1,000 different directions. They're in the people around you, the habits you've built, and the thoughts you entertain. It's not just the big distractions that slow you down. It's the little ones too. The things that seem harmless, but chip away at your focus and drain your energy. That's why identifying your distractions is one of the most important steps you can take on this journey of self-improvement. Because if you don't know what's holding you back, how can you ever break free? You see, most people don't even realize how distracted they are. It's like trying to walk through life with weights strapped to your ankles. You get so used to the heaviness that you forget it's even there. But when you start to pay attention, really pay attention, you'll see it clearly. You'll see how much time you're spending on things that don't matter. You'll notice how often you reach for your phone, not because you need to, but because it's become a habit. You'll recognize the conversations, the commitments, and the activities that are pulling you away from your purpose. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The first step in identifying your distractions is to become brutally honest with yourself. Take a day, just one day, and track how you're spending your time. Write it down, every hour, every minute. How much time are you scrolling through social media? How much time are you spending on activities that don't bring you closer to your goals? How often are you interrupted by notifications, emails, or other people's demands? This exercise isn't meant to make you feel guilty. It's meant to open your eyes, because awareness is the first step to change. As you do this, you'll start to notice patterns. Maybe you're spending 2, 3, even 4 hours a day on your phone. Maybe you're saying yes to things you don't even want to do, just because you don't want to disappoint others. Maybe you're procrastinating on the work that really matters, because it feels uncomfortable or challenging. Whatever it is, don't judge yourself. Just observe, because once you know where your time and energy are going, you can start to take control. Now here's the thing. Not all distractions are obvious. Some of them are sneaky. They disguise themselves as important or urgent, when in reality they're just keeping you busy instead of productive. For example, how often do you check your email, thinking it's critical, only to find yourself buried in a flood of messages that could have waited? How many times have you taken on someone else's problems, putting your own priorities on hold? These distractions might feel necessary in the moment, but they're stealing your focus from what truly matters. And then there are the distractions that come from within, the doubts, the fears, the endless stream of what-if thoughts that run through your mind. These are the hardest distractions to deal with because they're not external. They're part of you. But let me tell you something. You are not your thoughts. You have the power to choose which ones you listen to and which ones you let go. The key is to recognize when your own mind is pulling you off track and to gently guide yourself back. So what do you do once you've identified your distractions? You eliminate them, or at least minimize them as much as possible. Start with the easiest ones. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set boundaries with people who drain your energy. Create a dedicated space for your work or your growth, free from interruptions. These small changes might not seem like much, but they add up. They create the space you need to focus on what's important. For the deeper distractions, the habits and thoughts that are harder to shake, it's going to take time and effort. But don't let that discourage you. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen when you commit to it. Replace the habits that aren't serving you with ones that do. If you find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit, replace that urge with something more meaningful like reading, journaling, or working on your goals. If you're constantly doubting yourself, start replacing those doubts with affirmations of what you're capable of. The most important thing to remember is that your focus is your greatest asset. It's what allows you to pour all your energy into the things that matter most. And when you protect your focus, when you guard it like the treasure it is, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. You'll find yourself moving faster, thinking clearer, and achieving more than you ever thought possible. This isn't about becoming perfect or eliminating every distraction forever. That's not realistic, and it's not the goal. The goal is to take back control of your time and your energy, to decide every day what deserves your attention and what doesn't, to stop letting the world dictate how you live your life and start living it on your own terms. So my challenge to you is this: start identifying your distractions today. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the right circumstances. Just start. Take a look at your life, be honest with yourself, and make the decision to let go of what's holding you back. Because when you do, you'll open the door to a whole new level of focus, productivity, and success. And that, my friends, is how you begin to transform your life. Number 3, setting clear, achievable goals. You can't hit a target you can't see. Success isn't some random event or stroke of luck. It's the result of clear, focused effort toward a vision that means something to you. And yet most people go through life without ever truly knowing what they want. They drift from one thing to the next, reacting to whatever comes their way, hoping that somehow, someday, it'll all just fall into place. But let me tell you something, life doesn't work that way. If you don't set clear, achievable goals for yourself, you're leaving your future to chance, and I don't believe in leaving something as important as your life to chance, do you? The power of setting goals isn't just in knowing what you want. It's in giving your life direction. It's about waking up every day with a purpose, knowing that every step you take is bringing you closer to something meaningful. Without goals, you're like a ship without a rudder, tossed around by the waves, going wherever the current decides to take you. But with goals, you become the captain of your own ship. You decide where you're going. You decide what matters, and you take control of your life in a way that most people never do. The first step in setting clear goals is to ask yourself a simple yet powerful question. What do you really want? Not what other people think you should want. Not what society tells you is important. What do you want? This question requires honesty, and it requires courage. It's not always easy to admit what's in your heart, especially if it feels far away or out of reach. But if you're not willing to be honest with yourself, how can you ever hope to build a life that's true to who you are? Take some time to sit with this question. Think about the different areas of your life, your career, your relationships, your health, your personal growth. What does success look like to you in each of these areas? Be specific. The more clearly you can define your goals, the more real they become. Don't just say, I want to be successful. What does success mean to you? Is it financial freedom? Is it doing work you love? Is it having meaningful connections with the people around you? Paint a vivid picture in your mind of what you're striving for. Once you have a vision of what you want, the next step is to break it down into actionable steps. This is where many people get stuck. They see the big picture, but they don't know how to get there. And that uncertainty stops them in their tracks. But here's the truth. Every big goal is just a series of small steps. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly how everything will unfold. You just need to know the next step and then take it. Let's say your goal is to start your own business. That's a big goal, and it can feel overwhelming if you try to tackle it all at once. But what's the first step? Maybe it's researching your market. Maybe it's creating a simple business plan. Maybe it's setting aside an hour each day to work on your idea. Whatever it is, focus on that one step. Do it well and then move on to the next. This is how progress is made. One step at a time, one day at a time. It's also important to make your goals measurable. How will you know if you're making progress? How will you know when you've achieved what you set out to do? If your goal is to improve your health, don't just say, I want to be healthier. Decide what that looks like. Is it losing 20 pounds? Is it running a 5K? Is it eating a balanced diet 5 days a week? When your goals are specific and measurable, they become tangible. They give you something to aim for, and they let you track your progress along the way. Now here's the part most people overlook. Your goals need to matter to you. It's not enough to set goals that sound impressive or that other people will admire. If your goals don't light a fire inside you, you'll struggle to stay motivated when things get tough. And trust me, there will be tough days. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when the progress feels too slow, or the challenges feel too big. In those moments, it's your why that will keep you going. Why does this goal matter to you? What will achieving it mean for your life? Keep that why front and center, and it will pull you through the hard times. Another thing to keep in mind is that your goals should challenge you, but they should also be realistic. There's a fine line between pushing yourself and setting yourself up for failure. If your goals are too easy, you won't grow. If they're too far out of reach, you'll become discouraged. Find that sweet spot where you're stretching yourself, but not to the point where it feels impossible. And remember, it's okay to adjust your goals as you go. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the path changes. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're adapting. One of the most powerful things you can do is write your goals down. There's something about putting your dreams on paper that makes them feel real. It's like making a promise to yourself. Keep your goals somewhere you can see them every day. A notebook, a vision board, a note on your phone. Let them be a constant reminder of what you're working toward and why it matters. Finally, don't keep your goals to yourself. Share them with someone you trust, someone who will encourage you, hold you accountable, and celebrate your victories with you. There's power in having someone in your corner, someone who believes in you even on the days when you struggle to believe in yourself. And don't forget to celebrate your progress along the way. Every step you take is a step closer to the life you want. And that's something to be proud of. So let me ask you again, what do you really want? Take the time to answer that question. Set clear, achievable goals that matter to you, and then go after them with everything you've got. Because when you have a vision, when you have a purpose, and when you take consistent action toward your dreams, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Your future is waiting. It's time to step into it. Number 4, developing a structured plan. Let me ask you something. If you had a clear path, a roadmap to the life you've always dreamed of, would you follow it, or would you hesitate? Let distractions and doubts pull you away. The truth is, dreams are never achieved by accident. They're achieved through planning and action, through taking control of your time and energy, and directing them with purpose. And that, my friends, starts with having a structured plan. Without one, even the best intentions get lost in the noise of life. But with a plan, you create a way forward. You create momentum. A structured plan isn't about rigidity or perfection. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what you want and mapping out how to get there, step by step. When you have a plan, you take the guesswork out of your day. You don't wake up wondering, what should I do today? You already know because you've laid it out. It's the difference between wandering aimlessly and walking with purpose. And that purpose, that's what changes everything. The first thing a good plan needs is your vision. What is the ultimate goal you're working toward? What's the outcome you want to create? You have to get specific here. Saying, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy, isn't enough. What does success look like to you? What does happiness feel like? Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's creating a healthy lifestyle. Whatever it is, be clear about it. Write it down. When you know what you're aiming for, you give yourself something to focus on, something to drive you forward when things get tough. Once you have your vision, the next step is to break it down. Big goals can feel overwhelming, even intimidating, if you look at them all at once. But when you break them into smaller, manageable steps, they become less daunting. Let's say your goal is to run a marathon. That's a huge commitment, right? But you don't start by running 26 miles on your first day. You start small, maybe with a mile, or even a half mile. You create a training plan, building your endurance step by step. It's the same with any goal. You don't climb a mountain in one leap. You take it one step at a time. Now, once you've broken your goal into smaller steps, the next thing you need is a timeline. Without deadlines, even the best plans can lose momentum. Deadlines give you a sense of urgency. They push you to take action instead of procrastinating. But here's the key. Your deadlines need to be realistic. If you set them too tight, you'll set yourself up for frustration. If you set them too loose, you'll lose focus. Find that balance, and then commit to it. Make it non-negotiable. Treat your deadlines like promises to yourself, because that's exactly what they are. A structured plan also needs structure in your day-to-day life. This is where routines come into play. Routines might not sound exciting, but they are the foundation of progress. When you build consistent habits around your goals, you create momentum. Think about it: if you dedicate even just an hour a day to working on your goal, that adds up to 365 hours over the course of a year. That's a lot of progress. And the best part? When you make it part of your routine, it stops feeling like work. It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth or getting dressed in the morning. But let's be real. Life doesn't always go according to plan. There will be setbacks. There will be days when things don't go as you hoped, when obstacles show up out of nowhere. That's why flexibility is just as important as structure. A good plan isn't rigid, it's adaptable. If something isn't working, adjust it. If a new opportunity arises, consider how it fits into your vision. The key is to stay focused on the destination while being willing to change the route if needed. One of the most powerful tools you can use in creating a structured plan is visualization. Picture yourself achieving your goal. Imagine what it looks like, what it feels like. Make it as vivid as you can. Visualization isn't just about motivation, it's about clarity. When you can see the outcome in your mind, it becomes easier to map out the steps to get there. It becomes real, tangible, something you can almost touch. And that belief, that's what keeps you moving forward. Accountability is another critical piece of the puzzle. Share your plan with someone you trust, someone who will hold you to it. This could be a mentor, a friend, a coach, or even a family member. When you know someone is checking in on your progress, you're more likely to stay on track. And don't forget to hold yourself accountable too. Check in with yourself regularly. Are you sticking to your plan? Are you making progress? If not, what needs to change? These self-checks are what keep you honest and focused. Finally, remember that your plan isn't just about reaching the goal. It's about the person you become in the process. It's about building discipline, resilience, and confidence. Every step you take, every challenge you overcome, is shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows how to turn dreams into reality. And that transformation, that's just as valuable as the goal itself. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a choice. You can continue to drift, hoping that life will somehow work itself out. Or you can take control. You can create a plan, commit to it, and start building the future you want, step by step, day by day. It won't be easy. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when progress feels slow, when the goal seems far away. But if you stick with it, if you keep showing up and doing the work, you'll get there. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that every bit of effort was worth it. Let me ask you again, if you had a roadmap to the life you've always dreamed of, would you follow it? The roadmap is yours to create. The journey is yours to take. The question is, are you ready to begin? Because the moment you decide, the moment you commit, is the moment everything starts to change. Number 5, embracing solitude for self-reflection. The most powerful conversations you will ever have are the ones you have with yourself in silence. That's where the truth comes out. That's where the noise of the world fades, and you begin to hear what's really in your heart. Most people avoid silence because it forces them to face themselves, to confront their thoughts, their fears, their doubts. But what if I told you that solitude, true intentional solitude, is not something to fear? It's something to embrace. It's a tool, a gift, a chance to step away from the distractions and truly discover who you are and what you're capable of. In today's world, we're surrounded by noise, notifications pinging, messages demanding our attention, endless scrolling on our phones. It's a constant barrage of input, pulling us in 100 directions at once. And in the midst of all that, how often do we stop and ask ourselves, what do I really want? What matters to me? The truth is, you can't hear the answers if you're always plugged into the noise. You have to step away. You have to create space for those answers to emerge. And that's where solitude comes in. Now, solitude isn't the same as isolation. Isolation is when you feel cut off, disconnected from the world. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice. It's when you intentionally step back to reflect, to recharge, to reconnect with yourself. It's not about being lonely. It's about being present with yourself. And let me tell you, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness is a void. Solitude is an opportunity. When you embrace solitude, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You start to see your life for what it really is, not through the lens of others' opinions or society's expectations, but through your own eyes. You begin to understand what's working and what's not. You see the habits that are holding you back, the relationships that drain you, the dreams you've been ignoring. It's like wiping the fog off a mirror. You finally see yourself clearly. But let's be honest, solitude can be uncomfortable, especially at first. When you're alone with your thoughts, there's no one else to distract you or fill the silence. And in that silence, all the doubts, fears, and insecurities you've been avoiding tend to bubble up. That's normal. In fact, it's a sign that you're doing the work. Facing those thoughts isn't easy, but it's necessary. Because once you confront them, you can begin to understand them. And once you understand them, you can begin to overcome them. Think about it this way: when you're constantly surrounded by people and distractions, it's like trying to swim in a crowded pool. You're bumping into others, dodging splashes, struggling to find your own rhythm. But when you step into solitude, it's like stepping into a calm, empty lake. The water is still. You can see beneath the surface. You can finally focus on your own strokes, your own path. In solitude, you also tap into creativity and intuition in ways you never could in the chaos. Some of the greatest ideas, the most profound breakthroughs, come in moments of quiet reflection. When you're not busy reacting to the world, you create space for inspiration to flow. You start to notice patterns, to connect dots, to dream in ways you haven't in years. And that's not just a coincidence. Your mind needs stillness to process, to innovate, to grow. So how do you embrace solitude? How do you create that space for yourself in a world that's constantly vying for your attention? It starts with intention. You have to make a choice to step back, to unplug, to turn off the noise. Maybe it's carving out an hour in the morning to sit quietly with a journal. Maybe it's taking a walk in nature without your phone. Maybe it's dedicating a weekend to disconnecting from social media and spending time alone with your thoughts. The method doesn't matter as much as the commitment. What matters is that you make it a priority. And when you do, don't expect instant clarity. Solitude is a practice, not a one-time event. The first time you sit in silence, your mind might race. You might feel restless, uncomfortable, even bored. That's okay. That's part of the process. Over time, as you build the habit, you'll start to find peace in the stillness. You'll start to crave that time alone, because you'll see how much it adds to your life. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I don't have time for solitude. My life is too busy. And to that I say this: if you don't have time to connect with yourself, you're too busy. Period. Life will always be demanding. There will always be things vying for your attention. But if you don't make time to step back and reflect, you're not really living. You're just reacting. Solitude isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And here's the thing: solitude doesn't just benefit you. When you take the time to reconnect with yourself, you show up better for the people around you. You're more patient, more present, more grounded. You have more to give because you've taken the time to fill your own cup. So by embracing solitude, you're not just transforming your own life, you're impacting the lives of everyone you touch. As you embrace this practice, something amazing happens. You start to build a stronger relationship with yourself. You learn to trust your own instincts, to value your own company. You stop looking to others for validation because you've found it within. That kind of self-reliance is rare, and it's powerful. It gives you a sense of confidence and independence that no one can take away from you. So let me leave you with this. The world will always try to pull you in a million directions. It will always try to keep you distracted, busy, disconnected. But you have the power to choose differently. You have the power to step back, to create space, to embrace the gift of solitude. And in that space, you'll find clarity. You'll find inspiration. You'll find you. Don't wait for life to slow down. It won't. Take the time now. Give yourself the gift of your own presence. Because the greatest insights, the greatest breakthroughs, the greatest transformations, they all start within. Number 6, building discipline and consistency. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's not just about willpower or motivation. It's about making a promise to yourself and keeping it. And let me tell you, there's no better feeling in the world than knowing you can trust yourself. Most people spend their lives making excuses, blaming circumstances, or waiting for the right moment. But the truth is, the right moment doesn't exist. What does exist is discipline. The quiet, consistent action that transforms dreams into reality. Think about the people you admire most. Maybe it's someone in your family, someone in your community, or even a public figure. What sets them apart? Is it talent? Luck? No. What sets them apart is their ability to show up, day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one else is watching. Discipline is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. And here's the good news. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one decision at a time. Now let's be real. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not flashy or exciting. It's not the stuff that gets likes on social media. Discipline is waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's sticking to your workout when no one's cheering you on. It's saying no to distractions so you can focus on what really matters. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because every time you choose discipline, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. And those votes, they add up. One of the biggest myths about discipline is that it's about punishing yourself or depriving yourself. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Discipline isn't about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to the things that truly matter. It's about aligning your actions with your goals and your values. When you have discipline, you're not a prisoner to your impulses or your circumstances. You're in control. You're driving the car, not just going along for the ride. But let's talk about the hard part. Building discipline isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It starts small, with the little choices you make every day. Do you hit snooze? Or do you get out of bed when the alarm goes off? Do you scroll on your phone? Or do you spend 30 minutes reading or working on a skill? These small decisions might seem insignificant, but they're not. They're the foundation of your habits, and your habits shape your life. When you're building discipline, it's easy to get discouraged. You'll have days when you slip up, when you don't stick to your plan, when you feel like giving up, and that's okay. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up again and again, even after you've fallen short. So if you stumble, don't beat yourself up. Learn from it, adjust, and keep going. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. One of the most powerful tools for building discipline is creating routines. Routines take the guesswork out of your day. They help you automate good habits so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. For example, if your goal is to exercise regularly, set a specific time each day for your workout. Treat it like an appointment, something you wouldn't cancel unless it's absolutely necessary. Over time, it becomes part of your life, something you do without even thinking about it. Another key to discipline is understanding your why. Why are you doing this? Why is this goal important to you? When you have a clear sense of purpose, it's easier to stay committed, even when the going gets tough. Your why is your anchor. It's what keeps you grounded when distractions or doubts try to pull you off course. So take some time to reflect on your goals and what they mean to you. Write them down. Revisit them often. Let them be your fuel. Here's another thing to remember. Discipline doesn't mean you have to do everything on your own. Sometimes the best way to stay on track is to find accountability. Tell someone you trust about your goals and ask them to check in with you. Better yet, find a partner who's working toward a similar goal. When you have someone in your corner cheering you on and holding you accountable, it's a lot harder to quit. Discipline also requires self-awareness. You need to know your strengths and weaknesses, your triggers and temptations. If you know that you're likely to procrastinate after dinner, don't save your most important work for the evening. If you know you're tempted to skip the gym when you're tired, pack your workout clothes the night before and have them ready to go. Set yourself up for success by planning ahead and removing obstacles. Now let me tell you something that might surprise you. Discipline isn't about working nonstop or burning yourself out. Rest is a part of discipline. Taking care of your physical and mental health is a part of discipline. When you schedule time to recharge, you're not being lazy, you're being smart. Because the more you take care of yourself, the more energy and focus you'll have to stay disciplined in the long run. As you build discipline, you'll notice something incredible happening. The things that used to feel hard will start to feel easier. The habits you once had to force will become second nature. And most importantly, you'll start to see results. You'll see progress toward your goals. You'll see growth in yourself, your confidence, your resilience, your sense of accomplishment. And that's what makes it all worth it. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Just start. Choose one small habit to focus on. One area of your life where you want to build discipline. Commit to it for a week, then a month, then a year. And as you keep showing up, watch how your life transforms. Watch how you transform. Discipline isn't just a skill, it's a way of life. And when you embrace it, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 7, investing in learning and skill development. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you've invested a year of your life mastering something new, sharpening your skills, and growing into a person you barely recognize in the best way possible. That moment, that realization, can change the entire trajectory of your life. And it all starts with the decision to invest in yourself. Most people spend their time waiting for opportunities to come their way, hoping for a lucky break. But the truth is, opportunities don't just show up. They come to those who are prepared, and preparation begins with learning, growing, and developing skills that set you apart. When I say invest in learning and skill development, I'm not talking about adding another checkbox to your to-do list or collecting certificates just to hang on a wall. I'm talking about a deep, intentional commitment to becoming better at your craft, better in your thinking, better in how you show up in the world. Because the truth is, the world rewards value. If you want to create an extraordinary life, you have to become a person of extraordinary value. And that means learning. It means stretching yourself in ways you've never stretched before. It means being a student, not just of books, but of life. Think about this for a moment. What's the one skill that if you mastered it, could completely change your life? Maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's writing, maybe it's learning to code, or starting your own business. Whatever it is, I want you to hold that in your mind, because that's where your focus should go. That's your next step. And the beautiful thing is, we live in a world where knowledge is more accessible than ever. You don't have to wait for someone to hand you an opportunity to learn. You have books, online courses, podcasts, mentors, and communities, all at your fingertips. The resources are there. The question is, will you use them? Let me tell you something about learning. It's not always comfortable. In fact, most of the time it's downright uncomfortable. When you're learning something new, you're going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to feel awkward, maybe even frustrated. But that's where the magic happens. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to stretch you beyond what you thought was possible. And every time you push through that discomfort, you're building not just a skill but a mindset. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Now here's something else I want you to think about. Learning doesn't just happen in isolation. Some of the most powerful lessons come from the people you surround yourself with. If you want to grow, if you want to reach new heights, you need to be around people who inspire you, who challenge you, who make you think bigger. Find mentors, find communities, find people who are already doing what you want to do and learn from them. Ask questions, listen, observe, and then take what you've learned and make it your own. But let me warn you, investing in learning and skill development requires discipline. It requires a commitment to show up, even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to say no to distractions and yes to your future. It's not about cramming everything into a single day or trying to master everything at once. It's about consistency. It's about dedicating time every single day, even if it's just an hour, to your growth. Because over time, those hours add up. And before you know it, you've built a foundation of knowledge and skills that no one can take away from you. I also want to remind you that learning isn't just about career or financial success. It's about becoming a better human being. It's about understanding yourself and the world around you. It's about cultivating empathy, curiosity, and a sense of wonder. So while you're focusing on developing your skills, don't forget to invest in personal growth. Read books that challenge your perspective. Learn about cultures and ideas that are different from your own. Develop emotional intelligence. These are the things that make life rich and meaningful. And here's the best part. As you grow, as you learn, as you develop your skills, you'll start to see opportunities you never saw before. Doors will open that you didn't even know existed. You'll find yourself in rooms you never thought you'd be in, having conversations you never imagined you'd have. That's the power of preparation. That's the reward of investing in yourself. The world notices when you've done the work, and it responds accordingly. I know it can feel overwhelming at times. There's so much to learn, so much to do, and it's easy to feel like you're falling behind. But I want you to remember this: you don't have to do it all at once. Start small. Start with one thing. Focus on it. Master it. and then move on to the next. It's not about speed, it's about progress. And every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you want to become. So I want to leave you with this challenge. Commit to investing in yourself for the next year. Choose one skill, one area of growth, and pour your energy into it. Make it a priority. Show up for yourself every single day, no matter what. And a year from now, I promise you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. You'll see the progress, the growth, the transformation. And you'll realize that the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Number 8, monitoring progress and making adjustments. Imagine if every small step you took towards your goals was like laying a brick in the foundation of the life you've always dreamed of. What if you could see, day by day, the walls going up, the structure taking shape, and the reality of your vision coming closer and closer? But here's the thing. You can't know if the structure is strong, if it's balanced, or if it's even on track unless you stop to step back and take a good, hard look at what you've built so far. Monitoring your progress and making adjustments isn't just a good idea, it's essential. It's what separates people who dream from people who achieve. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat down and really evaluated your life? Not in a casual way, but deeply, with intention. It's easy to get caught up in the grind, doing the same things day after day, hoping they'll eventually lead to success. But hope alone isn't a strategy. If you're not checking your progress, you're flying blind. You might be running hard, but are you running in the right direction? That's the question. And answering it requires honesty. It requires you to pause, reflect, and sometimes admit that what you're doing isn't working as well as it could. Here's the truth. Progress isn't always obvious. It's not always flashy. Sometimes it's as subtle as realizing you're a little more patient today than you were last month, or that the skill you struggled with a few weeks ago now feels a little easier. But if you're not paying attention, those small wins can slip by unnoticed, and those small wins matter. They're proof that you're moving forward. They're fuel to keep going. But you'll only see them if you take the time to stop and look. When you monitor your progress, you're not just checking off a box. You're gathering data about your life. You're looking at what's working, what's not, and where you need to make changes. And let me tell you, adjustments are not a sign of failure. They're a sign of wisdom. They're a sign that you're paying attention, that you care enough about your journey to make it better. Think about it. When a pilot flies a plane, they don't just set the course and sit back. They're constantly making adjustments to stay on track. Life is the same way. You have to be willing to pivot, to try a different approach, to refine your methods as you go. This is where self-awareness becomes your greatest ally. You've got to know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your tendencies. Are you sticking to your plan, or are you letting distractions pull you off course? Are you being consistent, or are you only putting in effort when it's convenient? These are hard questions, but they're necessary. And answering them honestly is what will keep you moving forward. Let's talk about practicality for a moment. How do you actually monitor your progress? It's simple. Start by setting aside time every week to reflect. Call it your review time. During this time, ask yourself, what did I accomplish this week? What could I have done better? What challenges did I face? And how did I handle them? Write these things down. Don't rely on your memory, because it's easy to forget the details. Writing creates clarity. It helps you see patterns and track your growth over time. Once you've reviewed your week, look ahead. What do you want to achieve in the coming week? Set clear, specific goals. Make a plan. And here's the key. Don't just plan your actions. Plan how you'll measure them. If your goal is to get in shape, decide how you'll track your progress. Maybe it's the number of workouts you complete, the miles you run, or the changes in your energy levels. If your goal is to build a business, track things like customer feedback, revenue growth, or the number of new connections you make. Whatever your goal is, find a way to measure it, because what gets measured gets improved. Now let's talk about making adjustments. This is where some people get stuck, because change can feel intimidating. Maybe you've been following a plan, and it's not producing the results you hoped for. That can be frustrating. But here's the thing. It's not the plan that defines you. It's your willingness to adapt. If something isn't working, don't cling to it out of pride or fear. Let it go. Try something new. Experiment. Growth is a process of trial and error. And every time you adjust, you're getting closer to what works. Sometimes the adjustments you need to make aren't about your plan, but about your mindset. Are you being patient with yourself? Are you staying focused on the long term? Or are you getting discouraged by temporary setbacks? Remember, Progress isn't always linear. There will be ups and downs. There will be moments when it feels like nothing is happening. But that doesn't mean you're not growing. Trust the process. Trust yourself and keep showing up. As you monitor your progress, don't forget to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Maybe you completed a tough project at work. Maybe you finally stuck to a morning routine for a week. Maybe you had a breakthrough in a relationship. Whatever it is, take a moment to acknowledge it. Success is built on small wins. And when you celebrate them, you're reinforcing the habits and actions that will lead to even bigger victories. I want you to picture this. A year from now, you're looking back at the person you are today. What do you want to see? Someone who drifted through the year, hoping for the best, or someone who was intentional, someone who tracked their progress, made adjustments and kept moving forward. No matter what, the choice is yours, and it starts now. So I dare you to take this seriously. Make a commitment to yourself, to monitor your progress, and make adjustments as needed. Don't wait for life to happen to you. Take control. Be deliberate. And remember, every time you reflect on your journey, every time you make a change to improve, you're building the life you've always wanted, one brick at a time. And let me tell you, when you stand back and see what you've created, it's going to be worth every effort. Number 9, reemerging with enhanced capabilities. Imagine reintroducing yourself to the world as someone unrecognizable, not because you've vanished, but because you've transformed. Picture the faces of people who once doubted you, now stunned by what you've achieved. Reemerging after a year of hard work, discipline, and growth is not just about showing the world a new version of yourself. It's about owning the transformation you've worked so tirelessly for. This is your chance to prove, not to them, but to yourself, just how far you've come. Now let's talk about what it means to reemerge. You see, when you disappear for a year, not to escape, but to rebuild, you're committing to something profound. It's not just about stepping back from the noise or shutting out distractions. It's about diving into the deep work, the kind of work that changes you from the inside out. When you do that, you don't come back the same. You come back stronger, sharper, more capable. And trust me, the world notices. They notice when you walk into a room and carry yourself with a confidence they've never seen before. They notice when your actions speak louder than any words you could ever say. But here's the thing. This isn't about seeking validation from others. This is about you. It's about becoming the person you've always known you could be. It's about breaking through the limits you once thought were unshakable. It's about proving to yourself that you can do hard things, that you can stick to a plan, that you can grow beyond what you thought was possible. When you're gone for a year, when you're in the trenches doing the work, you begin to understand things differently. You see, transformation isn't just about adding new skills or ticking off goals. It's about shedding the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. It's about letting go of habits, mindsets, and fears that have held you back for far too long. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. You start to see the world differently. You start to see yourself differently. And that shift in perspective is what sets you apart. Reemerging after a year of growth is like stepping into the sunlight after being underground. It's liberating, yes, but it's also a moment of reckoning, because now it's time to show up. It's time to take everything you've learned, every skill you've mastered, and every lesson you've internalized, and put it into action. This is where you prove to yourself that the work was worth it. But let me tell you something. Reemerging doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you're ready to take the next step. It means you've built a foundation strong enough to support the life you're creating. And that, my friend, is what matters. The beauty of reemerging is that it gives you a chance to redefine yourself on your terms. You're no longer bound by the expectations of others or the limits of your past. You're free to step into your potential, fully and unapologetically. And the best part? You don't need anyone's permission to do it. You just need the courage to show up as the person you've become. Think about how powerful that is. A year ago, you might have felt stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed. But now, after dedicating yourself to growth, you're stepping forward with clarity and purpose. You've proven to yourself that you can do hard things, that you can stay consistent, that you can overcome obstacles. And that kind of confidence is unshakable. It's the kind of confidence that opens doors, builds relationships, and creates opportunities you never thought possible. As you re-enter the world, don't be surprised if people react differently to you. Some might be supportive, excited to see your growth. Others might be skeptical or even dismissive. That's okay. Your transformation isn't about them. It's about you. Let your actions speak for themselves. Let the results of your hard work be the loudest statement you make. Because at the end of the day, the people who matter will see the real you, the one who's committed, disciplined, and determined to keep growing. Reemerging is also an opportunity to inspire others. When people see what you've accomplished, they'll start to believe that they can do it too. Your journey becomes a beacon for those who feel stuck or lost. It becomes proof that change is possible, that growth is achievable, and that a better future is within reach. Never underestimate the ripple effect of your transformation. You might inspire someone to take their first step, to make a change, or to believe in themselves again. And that's a gift worth sharing. As you step back into the world, remember to keep your momentum going. Don't let the end of your year of transformation be the end of your journey. Keep setting goals, keep learning, keep challenging yourself. Growth is a lifelong process, and the more you invest in it, the more rewarding it becomes. Stay humble, stay hungry, and stay focused on what truly matters to you. And finally, take a moment to celebrate. You've earned it. You've put in the time, the effort, and the dedication to create a better version of yourself. That's something to be proud of. But don't let the celebration be the end. Let it be a reminder of what you're capable of. Let it fuel your next steps, because the journey doesn't stop here. It's just beginning. So I dare you to reemerge boldly. I dare you to step into the life you've worked so hard to build. And I dare you to keep going, to keep growing, and to never settle for anything less than the best version of yourself. This is your moment. Make it count. Number 10, inspiring others through your transformation. What if your transformation wasn't just for you? What if the lessons you've learned, the struggles you've faced, and the growth you've gone through could serve as a light for others? When you embrace change, when you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you're not just creating a better life for you, you're becoming an example for everyone around you. You're inspiring them, whether you realize it or not, to look at their own lives and think, if they can do it, so can I. You see, this journey of self-improvement isn't something that happens in isolation. It has a ripple effect. When you show up for yourself and make the effort to become better, you start to change the environment around you. The people in your life start to notice. They start to feel the energy shift. Maybe they see you making better choices, achieving goals they never thought you'd achieve, or simply carrying yourself with more confidence. Whatever it is, they'll start asking questions. They'll start wondering how you did it. And that's when the real magic happens. Because your transformation has the power to be a catalyst for others. The truth is, we all need a reason to believe. We all need to see that change is possible. That growth is not just a dream, but a tangible reality. When you step into the best version of yourself, you're providing that proof. You're showing people that no matter where they are in life, they too can make changes, take control, and shape their future. And the best part, you don't need to speak a single word to do it. Your actions, your discipline, and your consistency speak louder than any motivational speech ever could. As you grow and evolve, others will watch. Some will be inspired by your journey and take their first steps toward change. Others might need a little more time, but eventually they'll see the difference you've made in your own life, and they'll want the same for themselves. It might start with a simple conversation, a question about what you've been doing differently. It might be a quiet moment when someone notices how much more confident you are, or how much more focused you've become. And when that moment comes, when they ask, how did you do it? You'll be able to share your story. The beauty of this is that your journey doesn't just impact you. It creates a wave of inspiration that extends far beyond what you can see. Think about the people in your life, the ones you interact with every day, your family, your friends, your colleagues. Each of them is watching. They might not say it, but they're paying attention. And when they see you step into your potential, they'll start to believe in theirs. It's a powerful thing when you realize that your growth is not only for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of those around you. But here's the key. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to have all the answers. All you have to do is keep moving forward, keep improving, and stay committed to your own growth. When you do that, you naturally inspire those around you. You become a living example of what's possible when you put in the work and stay dedicated to the process. This is what it means to lead by example. You're not waiting for someone else to show you the way. You're showing others the way by living your truth, by being real, and by taking action. The best leaders don't necessarily have all the answers. They have the courage to take risks, to fail, and to get back up again. They have the strength to keep going when others might give up. And that kind of leadership, quiet, consistent, and grounded in action, is the most powerful kind. Now think about the people who've inspired you along your journey. Maybe it was a mentor, a friend, or someone you've never even met. Maybe it was a story you read, or a person you observed from afar. Whatever it was, something about their journey gave you hope, made you believe that change was possible, and sparked something inside you. That's the kind of impact you can have. You don't know who's watching you, who's learning from you, who's being encouraged by the way you handle life. You might never hear their stories, but trust me, they're there. They're out there, quietly taking notes from the way you live your life, from the choices you make, and from the example you set. It's a humbling thing, really, when you realize that your growth isn't just for you, it's for everyone who comes into contact with you. And while you're out there building a better life for yourself, you're also helping to build a better world. Every small change you make, every step you take toward becoming a better version of yourself, is a step that others can follow. You're leaving a trail for others to walk, and you never know just how far that trail will go. So let me ask you this: what kind of example do you want to set? Do you want to be the person who waits for life to change? Or do you want to be the person who takes charge and shows others that change is possible? Do you want to be the person who talks about their dreams but never takes action? Or do you want to be the person who demonstrates through their actions that dreams can be realized? The choice is yours. And let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. This isn't about being flawless. It's about being real, being authentic, and showing up every day, even when it's hard. It's about doing the work, making the sacrifices, and committing to your own growth. Because when you do that, you inspire others, not because you're perfect, but because you're human. And it's your humanity, your struggles, your victories, and your persistence that make you a beacon for others to follow. So keep going, keep growing, keep leading by example. You might not always see the impact you're having, but trust me, it's there. And one day, someone will come up to you, and they'll say, "I saw what you did. I saw how you changed. And because of you, I believed I could change too." That moment, my friend, will be the most rewarding thing you ever experience. Because that's when you'll truly realize that your journey was never just about you. It was about lighting the way for others to follow.